Hey guys, it Doesn't Matter, and
Ellen the Dream.
And also, we have a special guest today doing something new on the podcast. Introduce yourself, please.
Hey, it's another fan.
Hey, guys, how cool is this? Okay. I feel like I'm positive that anyone listening to this podcast has definitely watched your videos, if only for Little Mix, if not just like for other singers that they like.
We're gonna be like, who is this guy? Like, who is it?
But in case you guys haven't, you can explain your channel better than I can.
So I make videos on YouTube. I make videos on pop vocalists, pop vocals, and music in general. And yeah, that's what I do.
There are some Little Mix videos I'm sure you guys have seen. If you haven't, you should check them out. But also you should check out the other videos too, because they're just good. Today, what we, all three of us, are going to be doing is ranking the 3 Brits performances by the girls. All right, so guys, what we are going to do today is we're going to first just kind of take turns going over our personal ranking, and then we're going to get into like the nitty gritty of each aspects of the performances, and just kind of say what we've noticed and stuff. And we're going to have a very cool perspective because someone who actually knows about vocals is going to be commenting.
Who is it?
All right, so I will go first, and I feel like some of you might be able to deduce this already based on former podcasts, but do I start at the bottom?
Yes.
I'm supposed to start at the bottom. See, we messed this up one time. The Between Us album review. All right, so if we're starting at the bottom, at number 3, I cheated. So you can flip-flop you can flip-flop 2 and 3. But I'm going to go with Black Magic at number 3, Women Like Me at number 2, Guys Don't Hate Me, and then a Shout Out to My Ex at number 1. My reasoning for this, based purely on like personal preference, is that Shout Out to My Ex just has a magical quality that the other 2 can't touch. And that's like the biggest reason that it's at number 1. I think it's not necessarily the best performance of the 3, but I think that it has the same energy that in my opinion, that the Shout Out to My Ex premiere performance on X Factor had. There's nothing really special about that performance. The like costumes aren't insane. The choreography is kind of like, subpar. Don't hate me. And like the vocals, because they're singing it for the first time live, like aren't necessarily the best. But there's just something like really magical and like sassy and authentic and like, I don't know, there's just something special about that first X Factor performance. And I feel like the Brits Shout Out to My Ex performance shares that. Like I get very similar magical feelings from those two. And for me, like, because I don't adore and love any of the songs in particular that they've performed, it's kind of like how I feel watching them. And that one just like, even though I'm not a huge fan of like the costumes per se, I'm not a huge fan of like the concept, and like the choreography is kind of like not my favorite. I get like a magical feeling watching it, and that just raises it to the top. You can flip flop Woman Like Me and Black Magic because I think that they're kind of equivalent in some ways. Like they balance each other out in my head, and so it doesn't really matter to me which is second and which is third. So that's me.
Mine's kind of the same where I can flop 2 and 3. Because
yes,
one is
cheating
more
at the same time.
It's different ones though.
Whatever.
Yeah, you can flop 2 and 3. Mainly because I ranked them in what I think was best, I guess. But if I was doing it off my personal preference, I would flip it the other way. So that's that. But I did 3 Black Magic, 2 Shout Out to My Ex, and 1 Woman Like Me. Just, I don't know. I like Woman Like Me. It was kind of like the first one that gave me, oh, this is unpopular. It was like one of the first ones that gave me the wow factor, in a couple ways, whereas I didn't get that from the other 2.
I feel like you have the popular opinion.
Oh, really? I thought Shout Out to My Ex being
so.
number 1.
I think you have the popular opinion.
Yeah.
Oh, won't you look at that? Wow.
And I think even the girls like the Woman Like Me the best, the most. I feel like.
Oh, okay. Yeah, like if I had to switch it based on like personal preference, then I would switch Shout Out to My Ex and Black Magic, but because I'm trying to rank it on like what is the actual best, I did
See,
it
okay,
this
she
way.
got nervous because you were coming on. I'm running you out.
That's fine.
She got nervous because you were coming on. And this, okay, I'm sure you've noticed this trend. I always rank objectively, and she always ranks based on personal preference. And so we're never ranking on the same things. And we always talk about how we're going to like rank on the same thing one time, but we never do. And um, so this time I ranked on personal preference because I just figured like, I don't know if that's what we were doing. And then, and then she gets on with me today and she's like, well, I objectively ranked them. And I was like, what?
Yeah, that did happen. I can confirm. I mean, I can switch it back if you want.
No, you did what you did.
So my number 3 is Woman Like Me. The second one is Black Magic, and then on top, without a doubt, is Shout Out to My Ex.
Yes.
I think Shout Out to My Ex. Yeah, we're gonna have a good time, guys. Yeah, Shout Out to My Ex is one of these performances that is not to me overdone, but it's still super effective. And also, I think the girls' stage presence makes a performance. I feel like they were very excited to be on that stage, and you can tell that. And actually, they were really like enjoying their time on stage, and they were very passionate about the performance. And I feel like it really shows. At least that's how I see it. Yeah, I feel
It's the
like it's
glory
super
days magic.
effective. I mean, Glory Days, you can't go wrong. Come on.
I'm telling you, it's
Sorry.
the glory days magic. I feel like during the glory
Yeah.
days era, you can look at any performance they've ever done, even when they're tired and like it's rough, like cough
Yeah.
F1 in London, cough. And and they, like you can just feel that they love what they do.
Yeah.
Like, and that like they're hungry for it. I'm telling you, there's glory day magic, and I will go to the grave saying it.
Yeah. They're just so in the moment, I feel like. They're just like in that moment hungry for it, and it's just, yeah, you can't go wrong with that. I mean, yeah, I feel like Shout Out to My Ex is one of their most I don't know, it's one of their most effective performances that they've done. I don't know, that's what I think.
I have a buddy. Na, 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 na. It's okay. You have the popular opinion.
The most memorable, to me, it has the strongest visual identity. When it's very easy for me to recall what the performance looks like, what it sounded like. It's the most memorable performance to me out of these 3, obviously.
Oh wow, you're really gonna like argue its objective bestness. Wow. Okay, let's
Yes,
get it.
definitely. Yeah.
I like how we all have different ones, though. That's cool.
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah.
Let's start with vocals because we have a specialized guest with us. All right. Vocals, I would argue objectively that it is Shout Out to My Ex, despite the fact that there are a few vocal mishaps in Shout Out to My Ex.
Yes.
I would say that because it's majority live. The growth development and the control development that they all had over their voices during the Glory Days era is just superior to even like, in my opinion at least, and you should correct me if I'm wrong, like the even like most basic verse, like forget like anything fancy, like the most basic thing that they could sing in Get Weird, I think still lacks some of the finesse rather that like the Shout to My Ex vocals have.
Mm-hmm.
And then do I have to tell you guys that Woman Like Me is entirely lipped? I feel like we should know this, but yeah, so I feel like that for me, it has to mean that Shout Out wins.
Yeah, I actually agree. I think, the vocals on Woman Like Me, are good, are pretty good, but, I cannot really give them much credit when we compare them to the live vocals of Shout Out to My Ex, to be honest. I would definitely agree with Shout Out to My Ex. I think that each of the girls does really well on her individual verse. I think Perry does a really good job. Jade does a brilliant job, actually. Very nice tone, great pitch, very confident as well. Jessie too. Leigh-anne does have a little bit of a mishap when she goes the second time in her falsetto from chest to falsetto. I will not sing it, but you guys can watch the performance. She does the first switch and it's really clean and good, and then she does the second one, and unfortunately it is a little bit shaky. But other than that, I feel like yeah, I really like the vocals on "Shout Out to My Ex," and if I'm not mistaken, it is the only performance where they actually sing along with the chorus, or at least maybe, or at least maybe some of them, like
Nope.
Leigh-anne and Jade, maybe, I don't know.
Nope.
No, okay. Well, at least
So
they were
sorry.
believable.
It is definitely a pre-recorded chorus specifically for the Brits, but no one is singing over it, unfortunately. Yeah, it's unfortunate.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. Yeah,
Some of you guys are going to be mad at me in the comments, and feel free. But ever since I started doing the
yeah.
over the track videos, where I literally listened to my ear, like trained my ear to listen to what it sounds like when one or two or three of them or four of them sing over a backtrack, it's gotten very good at that. And unfortunately, as much as I would love it to be true, they don't do it in Shout Out to My Ex for the Birds.
At least it sounded really, well, really realistic. Wow.
Yeah, I appreciate the specialized pre-record for it. I appreciate that.
Yeah, definitely.
What about you?
I don't know anything about vocals, so I'm just gonna agree and say shout out to my ex.
Yay! We got it. We got it. We got it.
Yeah, I don't know. I know nothing, so nothing I say is gonna be take it with a grain of salt because I have no idea what I'm talking about. But yeah, I agree.
Moving on to dancing. All right, guys. So we have a dancing category and a choreo category. The difference going to be that dancing is like the execution of the movement, and choreo is going to be the choreography that was choreographed for the performance. So those are our two differences. We're going to start with dancing, and we're going to start with just like the execution of the movements, specifically each girl, and then also just as a group. Not necessarily that we're all going to go over each girl, but just that's what we're looking at. Okay, if I had to objectively go with the dancing, I would say, I mean, if we're talking about like the cleanest dancing, I would say it's Shout Out to My Ex, because there's a limited amount of it, but it's all really clean, and they are really in sync and moving as one for the most part. And so it's really satisfying to watch. I love that. And yeah, so if I had to say like best dancing for them, I would say it's Shout Out to My Ex. If I had to like pick one that had a bit more choreo to make things spicy, I would probably go Woman Like Me. They each individually do things that drive me insane throughout the whole performance, and they're not really in sync. You're all about to get mad at me, and I know you are. When I say in sync, I don't necessarily mean that they're all like moving at the same time. I mean that like they're not all performing the dance move the same way, which I know that we all like to praise them for their individual style, but like when you dance with a group, you are supposed to all do the move the same way. That's the whole point. We just let it slide for Western pop stars. So I would say I think it's better in Women Like Me than it is in Black Magic, but I definitely do think that if we had to like go for the cleanest best one, it would be Shout Out to My Ex. But if we want to like be spicy about it, it's Woman Like Me. That's my opinion.
Yeah, I agree. Like cleanliness and just overall, it's definitely Shout Out to My Ex. But if I had to choose one that had more choreo, I would choose Woman Like Me, because it really is what you said. Shout Out to My Ex doesn't have as heavy of choreography, so it's a lot easier to do it together, and it's easy to make it uniformed. Whereas in Black Magic and Woman Like Me, that was their problem because they would all drop down at the same time, but one would add a hip, one would add a shoulder that two of them weren't doing, and that's what makes it look messy. Even just like the tiniest little like, here, this is where you can improv and do your little whatever you want freestyle section for 8 counts, it wasn't matched. And shout out to my ex, when somebody was doing that, the other three weren't moving. And so it gave it more of a cleaner illusion. So, yeah, definitely agree that shout out had the cleanest dancing. And it was just a lot more uniformed. It was just, it looked very much like a machine isn't the right word, but
I know exactly what
it
you mean.
Yeah,
is.
definitely.
Yeah.
So I definitely agree with you guys. Um, that's what I said about. That's what I said about. Shout out to Mike's performance. That it's not overdone, but it is effective, and that's also what I meant with 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 the dancing. That the choreo isn't the most like complex one, definitely, but the execution is really clean and polished, and that really gives off this like uniform effect that I personally really like, and I think it's really, it's something that we should appreciate. However, the Black Magic one and Woman Like Me definitely have more complex choreo. So, but yeah, I agree also that Woman Like Me, not by a lot, but I think it's better than Black Magic. However, there are some missteps here and there in Woman Like Me, especially in that final breakdown, like that dance breakdown with the remix. Um, yeah, I think there are some things that didn't really click. But yeah, in terms of execution, definitely shout out to my ex, the most effective, the most clear and the most polished one out of those three.
All right, segueing right into choreo because we're right there. Um, I would say the choreography that probably fit the performance the best, concept wise, would be Black Magic. That being said, I think that the choreography that worked the best for them was Shout Out to My Ex. Because everyone's gonna hate me. I'm shitting on a woman like me, and it's the favorite. I know it is, but I I hold this position true of the choreography for Woman Like Me outside of this Brits performance, including the tour. And I know everyone's mad, so I think that especially the dance break sections of Woman Like Me, not talking about the chair choreo in the Brits performance, but the other choreo, I think that it's not choreographed to the girls' strengths as a whole. And so it comes off really kind of messy and just not really that great individually and as a group. So I just feel like your choreography should always enhance your artist. If it doesn't work for them, then they shouldn't be doing it, is my opinion. Because then it just makes everyone look bad. So yeah, I would say I would do Women Like Me last in choreo. I would say Shout to My Ex um, as first, and then Black Magic in the middle, except if we're going concept. And then I think maybe Black Magic concept dancing choreography worked best. I don't know. I could maybe flip flop on some of this. Nah, I don't know. You guys go.
I don't know. No, I really don't though, because your point was really good with make how the choreographer's job is to make the dancer look good. Um which is true, but I like the choreography. Yeah, with Woman Like Me, the choreography was a lot. It was very, I don't want to say chaotic because it wasn't chaotic, but it was just very heavy. There was a lot of it, and they were very rarely just standing there. Um, and I like that because it kept it busy. Um, and it was different. Like it wasn't their normal choreography. We hadn't seen them do it multiple times before, so it was a little breath of fresh air. Um, and it wasn't like little choreographed movements and then all of a sudden a big dance break. It was just very cohesive throughout the entire performance. Whereas in Shout Out to My Ex was they had a dance break at the beginning, a lot of choreographed movement, it's a small little break at the end, and then we're back to just the small movements again. And so while they worked, they weren't my favorite. And Black Magic had a lot of choreo, but it was reused. We've seen it multiple times. And parts of it, in my opinion, just didn't fit the performance. So I just wasn't a fan of that.
I agree that
Like the
the Black
dance break
Magic
bits.
choreo is hit or miss depending on which dance break you look at or which dancing section you
Yeah.
look at.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah, it wasn't my favorite. I feel like they were doing steps that didn't necessarily work out with the song, even though it was remixed in that part. And so Woman Like Me, I feel like just had the best out of the three because it was just so much more intricate, and we had chair choreography, which we hadn't had before, during the Brits, I mean. I just feel like they were always moving, and it made it very easy to watch because there weren't any awkward pauses or you weren't over anticipating it. And
How much of that was the choreography and how much of that was the director?
um
You know what I mean? Like, did the
it's
director
true.
just have a good
Good
movement
angle.
and a good angle, good movement of where the camera would be at all times so that you weren't getting static shots? Because they definitely were static. If you watch the fan cam video, there are
Yeah, I've
static
seen
moments of
it.
the Woman Like
Oh, I should have
Me.
watched
Yeah,
that. I
yeah,
didn't even think to watch that one.
that's a good point. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's like, how much is the director making a great illusion of the performance
Mm-hmm.
and how much of it is the choreography?
Yeah. Um yeah, I couldn't tell you. I'd have to watch it, but I'm trying to like remember it in my head. It's been a while since I've watched that clip. Um Yeah, I mean, I still think the choreography is still my favorite out of the three, but the actual, what's the word? Enhancement
Dancing?
is probably different. Well, yeah, that too.
Oh,
Um,
the director's role,
yeah, is probably
helping hand.
different.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I don't know. I honestly really, yeah, I might just choose Woman Like Me as a personal favorite.
So okay, so I'm gonna defend Black Magic actually, um, because I do find Woman Like Me's choreography kind of overdone. I didn't want to use the word chaotic, but well,
Since you brought
right,
it up.
but well, here I go. Yeah, to me it is a little bit chaotic. I don't really get like the sense of excitement. It is a little bit too much for me, for my personal taste, and also just from a viewing experience. Um, Black Magic, I think the choreography is hit or miss because the performance itself is hit or miss. You know, you get these like awkward tonal shifts because like the intro is very like strong and dark, and I really appreciate the effort in trying to like add this like darker tone and element to the song with its title that even suggests, you know, like kind of like a darker tone. But then it's like, well, it's still black magic. Take a sip from a secret potion. Like,
Ugh.
well, it's still black magic, right? I kind of wish that they embrace the pure poppiness of black magic and just ran with it. But they decided to like remix that in a more like, I don't know, dark, mature
Cultural
way.
appropriated way.
Yeah,
Just
exactly.
throwing it out there because I do think that not just to throw it out there, guys, but I do think the darker tone was meant to accompany the cultural appropriation. Like I think they went hand in hand in the
Oh
concept
hell yeah, yeah,
process. That's why I mentioned it.
yeah. So you know, no matter what you do with with the remix, it's still black magic. It still has its covers. It's, you know, you can't change that. And I kind of wish that they just embraced the song as it is, as it was. They didn't really do that, but I do find like the choreo with, what's it called, a staff.
Yeah, staff.
So I really like that part. I think it's really creative. That part of the choreography.
I wish they did more with the staff.
Yeah, yeah, me too as well. But yeah, so I don't want to choose shout out to my ex because, like I said, it's effective. It's not overdone. It's relatively simple, right? And to me, woman like me on the other side is overdone. Is a little bit too complex.
Overstimulating.
Yeah, and I think that black magic performance itself is pretty hit or miss, and that's why it gets reflected in the choreography itself. But still, I appreciate like the occasional creativity in it. I guess that's how I would express that. Yeah, but like I said, like you can try to make black magic something it is not, but it's still black magic. It's still, you know, yeah, that's kind of like my 2 cents on that.
I think I changed my answer. No, because I have to agree about black magic. Like a lot of the stuff you were saying is so true. And I think part of what my quote unquote problem is that I always tend to like the over choreographed stuff because I'm looking at it as a perspective of a dancer, not
Hmm.
a performer. And so I'm used to needing to fill in lots of empty spaces with choreography because
Mm-hmm.
I don't sing, I only know how to dance. So black magic is definitely a lot more accommodating because it's giving them their breathers, it's giving them time to do whatever. Whereas woman like me is just so hit, hit, hit. It really is just a dance performance instead of a an artist singing. Um, so yeah, I think I changed my mind. I have to agree.
Yeah, it really is.
I would disagree with that. I would
Really?
disagree with that. Yeah. I think that Woman Like Me builds in breathers for them. They didn't
That's
sing live,
true.
so they didn't actually use them in the vocal
Oh
sense.
yeah, that's true.
But
That's
I think
true.
it does because I think that when they're coming up the stairs and they're doing that shoulder move, I think
Mm-hmm.
that when they're just doing that, I'm sorry, I don't like this part of the weird choreo where they like do this like weird elbow hand move. I don't like it. But
Yeah,
when they're doing that, like
neither.
that's a very like that. I wouldn't say that's like choreography meant to. I'd call that a breather choreography.
Hmm.
Um, like when Jesse's walking down the aisle after the chair choreo, I'd call that breather. Well, they're just kind of like walking their way along doing body rolls. I'd call that breather choreo. When they stand there for like the graphic, breather. When they just stand there and do nothing, well, Miss Banks does her verse, breather choreo.
Yeah, the whole Miss Banks rap is actually a great opportunity for them to kind of like, reset in a way and just prepare themselves for what's to come later in a
I
performance.
mean, obviously, the breathing they need, not just for vocals, right? They are trying to also like keep up stamina and stuff and be
Yeah,
able to breathe throughout the performance. So it's not just for singing. So the fact that they lift it, I don't think like discredits the fact that they had breather choreo. But I would argue that they have a lot of breather choreo for the Woman Like Me performance. They just also are very busy on stage.
Yeah, that's true. I also think you can see them losing stamina, especially in the hip part where they're like against the dancers.
Oh,
Um,
yeah, that's so messy. Oh my God, it
I
bothers me so much.
I feel like it because of all the movement, it makes it more obvious that they're not 100% anymore as they were at the beginning. Which is why my mind kind of goes there.
Going back to the specifics of the choreo, I think that choreography is just not meant for any of them, to be honest.
Yeah.
Like none of them look particularly good doing it. I think like it's just, and that's not to say like they're bad dancers and so they can't do it. Like certain dancers, depending on their style and their strengths and their weaknesses, do certain choreography better than others, or it suits them better than others. And I think that choreography really doesn't suit any of them particularly well. Um, and I think it looked messy all of tour too. I like the idea of it, like that choreography itself. If someone else was to do it, I like the idea of it, but I don't think they looked particularly good doing it. And it's also kind of a growth off of what they used to do in Move, and I don't think it looked good in Move either back in the Get Weird era. But personal opinion.
Yeah, and it's especially hard when there's four different dancers too. Like
Yeah, trying to match them
nonetheless,
all. Yeah.
yeah, like trying to fit one is hard enough. So trying to fit four, it's really hard. So yeah, it's true.
Yeah, and typically in dance routines too, if you have dancers with specific strengths, or weaknesses, you can kind of like buddy them up and then have them be doing different things on stage for a dance performance so that you're
Yeah.
kind of sideswiping the issue. But of course, like as a group, they can't all be just doing something random on stage.
Yeah.
Yeah, so they are limited in that sense, trying to like fit choreography to all four of them, especially when they're very different types of dancers. Moving on to costumes. All right, my favorite costumes are definitely Black Magic. Guys, Black Magic won something for me. Aren't you happy with me? Okay.
Yay!
I feel like all I do is shit on it all the time. Okay. All right. I like those costumes the best. Then I like Shout Out to My Ex. And then Woman Like Me exists.
Exists.
Yeah, I know. Whatever. You all are mad at me. It's like the Joan of Arc costumes. I get it. But you guys know this. I'm a sucker for like a classic leotard fit. You guys know this about me. That's like pretty much what the Black Magic ones are. Also, it's the really pretty like dark emerald jewel tone green that I really like with the black. And I think that their styles all nicely like lined up and match. Sometimes the styles of the costumes, like the colors or the theme or whatever, will match, but the fits, like the styles of each individual girl, don't match, and it looks a little funky. And I felt like it was just very consistent in Black Magic across the board. Everything kind of matched. And so I very much appreciated the work that went into those costumes. I liked the look of them. I think they all looked good in them. And then Shout to Max is just a bit too rigid and futuristic looking for me personally. I don't notice it too much during the actual performance, but of course, like I've seen them wearing it backstage and I've seen like pictures of the costumes on the mannequin. And when you see it just like sitting there, I'm like, oh. So yeah, I like those are fine too. I don't really have anything against them. They're just not my favorite. And then Woman Like Me, I feel like was a choice that they made. And I feel like it was a choice that was made. I think that, like, as far as the coloring goes, I think that it definitely fit with the concept, fit with the stage production, which we'll get to after. But I think the group cohesiveness, I think the fits, I think the material were not really the best for the performance. And then personally, my own fashion taste, which I think we've been over this, guys, but like I have no fashion taste at all. So I'm not qualified to comment on this. But since we're doing opinions, I just don't like the style of basically every single costume, I guess, except for Jessie. But Jessie's just like in a leotard fit, which we've already been over. So I'm just like the huge slits up the leg, the weird like strappy leather bit, like I don't know. There's some, I don't know. That's personally not for me.
Okay, me looking up what jewel tone green is. I was like, well, jewel tone green? I don't know that green. I know green and also green, and also I know light green and dark green. That's these are my colors. Yeah, I won't be able to elaborate much here, but I will try. Okay, I'll try. So my kind of take on that is that I judge the costumes based on how memorable they are to me, and to me, like shout out to my ex, costumes are have like I've said it before, have like the strongest visual identity. When I think of that performance, I can very easily recall what they looked like. I know it was futuristic, there was a lot of silver, it was kind of shiny, maybe rigid, I don't know. but like I can easily tell, I can easily visualize in my mind what they looked like. I can't really do that with Woman Like Me and Black Magic specifically. I don't really have much of a fashion sense, and definitely not in like female fashion. So I can't really like say much. But I'm picking shout out to my ex because the outfits to me stand out the most. I guess it is a lame answer. I'm sorry. I was just looking up what jewel tone green is, so that's all you need to know about my fashion sense.
I like the Black
Wait, can I?
Magic one. Oh yeah, go ahead.
Oh, really? I was going to guess something else. I was going to say, can I guess
Really?
before you go? But you're going to
Oh
agree with me?
yeah. Well, because
Yes.
how I am basic. Which one were you gonna guess?
I thought you were going to go with a woman like me.
Yeah,
That's my
I thought
second
so as
one.
well.
Oh, okay. Okay, I
Yeah,
was close
yeah,
then.
yeah. Black. So how I kind of like ranked them, I guess in my head was I ranked them how I think they match to the song, like how well. And so Black Magic, the whole green vibe, it was really bright and really colorful. Even though like the costume itself was darker, it was still had that like playful undertone of it. And so I feel like that matched Black Magic, the song itself, and just the overall performance they were trying to do the best.
Yeah, I agree. I think that also like the green really pops against the stage and against each other. So even though like it matches some of the stage aesthetics, I think that the fact that it still pops out at you and doesn't all blend together, I think that's something woman like me kind of struggles with. That with all the pink on stage, it's all just like one big
Mhm.
blur of pink.
Yeah. Yeah. And like with Woman Like Me, I do really like the pink concept, but just maybe not for that song or performance. Because when I picture Woman Like Me, I think of the music video where it's very much like an early 2000s vibe. It's more, the colors are more, d- I don't know, they're like green, blue, like that mindset, or they're either that, like from that one scene, or they're more
The music video is very
royal.
cool
Cool
toned
tone, that's the
with
word.
cool tones with like some jewel tones. Yeah, I get what you're saying.
Yeah. Yeah, like, I was expecting a little bit of something different, if we were going off of the music video, and so the just hot pink, bright pink just wasn't really clicking, despite how much I do appreciate the idea of it. And shout out to my ex. I honestly just am not a fan of the silver. I feel like it would work better for another song, but in my head, it just feels too sharp for
Rigid,
the song.
rigid.
Rigid.
Yeah, it actually looks like Spirit Region.
Yeah, just because, like, again, with the music video, it was very pastel colors and just bright pinks and blues, and I was expecting maybe more of like a purple even, not a very sharp, almost monotone theme. So, yeah, that's why I think Black Magic won it over.
Okay, moving to stage production. Um, I'm going to go with Woman Like Me, Shout Out to My Ex, Black Magic. And I'm going to do that because I think that Woman Like Me used their staging really well and was incorporated into the choreography in more than a we're moving across the stage type of way. Um, like the going up the stairs and then stopping to use the chair choreo, walking in between the chairs, like the way that they were kind of like framing the vault of the production scene behind them, I think all like just allows the production set to look better. And I also think that there was the way the director chose to do things, it was very circular the whole performance. So we start at like the table where you circle them, and then when they're kind of going up the stairs, it feels a bit curved. Then obviously the stage is curved as like Jesse's coming through on her second verse, and so the whole performance just has like a very um, similar kind of movement going to it between the camera movement and like the shape and the production of the stage. So that's why I just think like everything was kind of clicking and cohesive for the stage production of Woman Like Me. And then I would go shout out to my ex because I think that the visuals on the floor underneath them and also like the diamond where there's people in the middle was very cool. And then of course like they get lifted up, which I think like isn't really that cool, but it's still something, like especially considering how pressed on time they were to like do things with the stage. Um, so I would give that point to that. And then Black Magic, I think that the only really cool thing about the stage of Black Magic is that they were in the eyes at the beginning, and that's not really cool enough to compete, in my opinion.
Yeah, it really isn't as cool. I mean, it's cool, but not enough. I mean, I even though I actually find like the Woman Like Me staging a bit confusing, not too much, but still a bit confusing here and there. And maybe I personally like Shout Out to My Ex more, but I have to give credit to Woman Like Me. I'm gonna put like Woman Like Me at the top for that. Kind of like not really thinking about my personal taste here. So yeah, a Woman Like Me definitely used the space that they had to play with in the most efficient way and the most effective way. I feel like Shout Out to My Ex is way more like basic and simple, but like yeah, kind of like effective is a key word for me for Shout Out to My Ex's performance. So even though the staging was more simple and I don't want to say like simplistic, maybe that's a better word. Yeah, simplistic. uh I think it was really effective, and black magic doesn't really have a lot to discuss really, even though like the beginning in the eyes of a skull was cool, I guess, but yeah, after that there's not much happening in the staging department. So yeah, so Woman Like Me, Shout Out to My Ex, and then Black Magic. It's gonna be my pick here. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm kind of torn between Woman Like Me and Shout Out. Um, Definitely leaning towards Woman Like Me, but Shout Out had some cool stuff that Woman Like Me didn't. Um,
Do you
and then
remember
Black
like the
Magic at the bottom.
thrones they were carried in on stage? That was cool. Like they
Yeah,
were like
that was
carried in
cool.
thrones, and I didn't remember that. I had to rewatch the performance, and I was like, okay, yeah, okay, I see it. Yeah, it's cool.
Yeah, because Shout Out to My Ex had
They
the
stole that
thrones.
from Salute. Sorry.
Oh, you're
Because I
right.
think
Okay.
the December Jingle Bell Ball happened before the Brits happened, right? Yeah, 2017 Brits versus 2016
Mm,
Jingle Bell Ball.
it
Oh,
sounds familiar.
I think they did. It's not included in the official Salute performance, but I've seen the social media videos of it.
oh, that's too
Oh.
bad. I thought it was. I didn't know that. Okay.
Sorry, I didn't mean to ruin it.
I was like, that's so cool. Yes. Yeah. I was like,
It's still super cool. And whatchamacallit, I think they were just copying the Queen vibes from it, because
Mm.
Salute is obviously very like
oh
empowering
yeah,
and
yeah,
whatever.
definitely.
So I think they were just copying that. And also, to be fair, they were on a very like they were on like a 2 day, you know, uh, help words.
Rehearsal planning
Yeah, they
period.
had very
Yes,
little time
thank
to
you.
rehearse the performance.
um, yeah, I mean, they still had that, which was like just a cool entrance to have.
Yeah.
And they got like lifted up on their little whatever those things are called
I mean, that's
on
something.
the second
Platform.
stage.
I don't know.
Yeah, like the little platform, which I feel like is kind of like their signature thing. I feel like they do that every single performance. But at the same time, Woman Like Me had so much. Like they used the stage very well. They were going upstairs. They were using chairs, but still doing choreography while moving. Um, they traveled a lot to get over there
Yeah.
too.
Yes.
Yeah.
Um, I love the table idea. That was cool.
That's my favorite
Um,
part of the performance. Actually, the
it's
intro
so
is
cool.
it's so cool. It's so good, and I feel like the intro just kind of like brings the hype and the kind of like the emotional build up that kind of gets lost somewhere along the way. But I really like it. It's my favorite part.
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
love
like
it.
it definitely establishes what's to come and it's
Yeah.
cool. I also really like in that part the lighting that they use, how it works with their dancing. It is just very accented. Whereas in the other ones it's more of just here's some lights, here's some spotlights, but it's not uh what's the word? Interactive. Whereas Woman Like Me had lights going off as they were hitting certain beats or hitting certain like that's really cool
Did
and I
that
really
not happen
appreciate
in
it.
Black Magic?
I don't think it was the same. I
No,
can
it wasn't the
look.
same
I mean, I'll have to trust you guys because you actually watched it.
because they're just coming off of that skull, and then
Well, yeah, not the intro of Black Magic, but like throughout the performance, I remember the lights being very prominent, the green lights and stuff, the green and
uh,
white lights throughout Black Magic. Were they not used to accentuate throughout the rest of the song?
I mean, they might have, but I feel like it was more of just
Honestly, I think it was kept pretty
regulated.
much the same throughout the performance. Maybe I'm wrong, but yeah, I may be wrong, but I
I
don't
just
recall.
remember at the end of Black Magic, like when we finally got some decent wide shots, with the confetti coming down and
Hmm.
everything, that I just remember being like, wow, there's a lot of green happening. Because I was like starting to connect like their outfits to the lights, to the staging, to the, and I was like, oh wow. But I also, I mean, it could have been a thing where we just didn't see the green lights for the most of the performance, and so we don't get the same effect. Maybe is what happened.
Yeah, I have it up right now, and a lot of the green was in the background, um, like the screen on the background.
Yeah.
And when the confetti comes down, it's a lot of it's a glare. It seems like um,
I'm gonna pull it up.
from the backlights, like around the what is it, 340, 350
Okay,
section.
mute it and play it. Okay,
Um,
Perry is singing whatever. Oh, because it's the screens. It's the screen behind them, right? The
yeah,
green
Yeah,
that
that's
I'm
some screens.
remembering. Just because the green is coming through in the animated whatchamacallit behind them. Oh no, yeah, there's lights on the there's flashing lights all up and down the walls with the screens. Go to 125.
Wait, I'm gonna pull it up. Wait.
oh yeah, I see.
Yeah. I feel like we just don't see it enough because yeah, and see they're going again when you get back to the wide shot, at like 140ish or something. I feel like we just don't
Mm,
see it enough, but I feel like it's happening.
yeah.
But is it really happening if we have to like look for it? Like, is it
But
really that?
that's the director's fault. That's the
Yeah,
director's
because you
fault.
know what? You know, our reactions are really kind of based on what we see, what how is it shot and all of that. Like it really matters in this context. Like we haven't been there live. I think we were not there like in the audience, so we only get to see like the recording, and it really kind of like shifts our perspective on that. I feel like.
Yeah, it definitely does.
Yeah.
I feel like even if we just had like a fan cam wide
Yeah.
shot, like head on, we would have totally different opinions. Because look at there's lights coming down off the freaking ceiling on top of the
Okay, now
people.
I
Like
see it.
look at
Yeah.
227. And they're
Yeah,
like
it's
going back between
cool.
the green and the white. Like I always remembered like there being cool lighting. I just never like remembered whether or not it was particularly interactive. But I
Yeah,
feel
that's so
like
cool. Now I see it.
yeah, right.
But I haven't noticed
I
that
think the
earlier.
director did the lighting dirty.
They
Maybe.
definitely did.
I'm giving lighting to Black Magic. I don't care. Justice for the
Yay,
lighting in Black
Black Magic.
Magic.
Yeah, I just thought that maybe like the lighting was just white. That's the impression I just got because they're I don't know, they just I don't know. But now I see it as that's way more complex and exciting to watch.
Yeah.
I don't know. But like I said, is it really um that good if we have to like look it
I'm
up?
maintaining it is. Director can fuck off.
Yeah.
I'm maintaining it is because I will also fight this argument for the Glory Days, Summer Shout Out, and UK leg tours because they have some great interactive lighting with the performances. However, if you are not watching a super far back wide shot of the arena, you don't really notice it, but it
Hmm.
looks fucking cool from the back.
Oh
And you
yeah.
really have to appreciate when it looks cool from the back because if you're from the back, let's be real, you're not seeing them.
Yeah.
Anyway, I'm standing up for it, but you know, I understand if we don't agree.
um, Lighting I'll give to Black Magic, but I still like overall stage production for Woman Like Me.
Agreed.
Yeah. I guess so. I mean, um, even though I like Shout Out to My Ex the most, I have to give it to Woman Like Me. But Black Magic is also really cool, and the lighting thing is actually has kind of changed my opinion in a positive way on Black Magic's performance.
All right, moving on to concept.
Oh yeah.
I'm going Woman Like Me and then tie Black Magic and Shout Out to My Ex because I prefer the darker concept to Black Magic, but also it's rooted in like stereotype and cultural appropriation, which makes it kind of like, but so then I would tie it with Shout Out to My Ex, but I really don't like the super futuristic concept of Shout Out to My Ex. I feel like it doesn't really go with the song and doesn't really like I can't find a reason for why that's the theme of the year, like having to do with the era or their career or the album, or like I just can't. It just seems really random. So yeah, I'm not the biggest fan of the shout out concept, but also like me liking the darker concept of black magic doesn't really equal out the whole reason it's darker. So we'll tie them and then say the woman like me, like pulling off a heist thing, is like top tier concept as far as like all of these go, my opinion.
I have some issues with that performance, with Woman Like Me performance, because the intro, the heist, like come on, it is so good. Like I absolutely love it. Like I said earlier, I feel like it promises something. Like that intro promises something that I don't really think we get later in the performance. I feel like there's something to the intro. There's some energy that kind of like dies down after the first chorus, and kind of like that energy doesn't ever come back really. And when I see like Woman Like Me and its concept, I think yeah, potential. Yeah, it has so much potential, but I cannot really give it credit for the potential. Right, potential is potential. It doesn't really
I give
matter.
them credit for potential all the time.
Like that's how I see it, at least, right?
Yeah.
Potential only matters as much as what you do with it, right? Um, like it only matters as much as what you do with it and what you decide to do with the potential. So that's always like my thought on Woman Like Me. Even though the intro is fire, it is incredible, as we established earlier. Black Magic, like I said, it is a hit or miss performance. I kind of hate like the tonal shifts between the that like dark concept and like more bubbly, bright aesthetic of the chorus and of the verses. Uh, so it's kind of clunky. I think that's a better word. It's kind of clunky, awkward, and yeah, and that cultural appropriation thing it doesn't help really. I'm so sorry. Um, with shout out to my ex, what is the concept really? It seems like I don't like any concept of the performance,
Yep.
but like, what is the concept?
Yeah. So the way the girls have explained it is futuristic queen shit. I'm
Wow.
plugging in a few words, but that's kind of the basics of like all I've like when they've been
Okay.
asked to explain it before, that's kind of it.
Okay.
And I'm always like,
And how does it translate like to the song? Shout out to my ex. Like, what is the connection here?
nope, there isn't
There
one.
isn't one, right? So I don't know. Like, I have such a hard time with it because I see the potential in one like me. I I generally kind of like black magic in some places, right? At least in some places. And shout out to my ex is kind of like a mess in this department. Like at least concept wise, I like it visually. I like the performance. As we know, I really love the performance, but what is the concept really? So I'm torn between black magic and shout out to my ex for like the first spot, and yeah, shout out to my ex has to be at the bottom for me at least.
Now that you officially said it so that I didn't have to, yeah, I'm going to pile on a shout out to my ex and say that I think that its concept actually is like super convoluted and lost and serves no purpose, is like a complete mismatch throughout the performance. But visually, looks amazing.
Yes,
Okay, I'm done.
I still have the performance, but you know what? Okay, I know what the concept is. There's no connection to the song. Yeah, I just have kind of like a hard time with it, and I wish I could appreciate Woman Like Me more, but I just cannot. I don't know. Maybe just a me thing. I don't know. Okay, that is all. But I'm torn between Black Magic and Woman Like Me in terms of when it comes to the concept.
Don't hate me, guys, but like I really don't like any of them.
I'm fine with that.
Well, like none of them, like on their own, fine, but none of them correlate with the songs
Right? Yeah.
at all.
Yeah, kind
I
of.
could see it, but
Do you guys know what the reason for the heist thing for Woman Like Me?
mm,
The fan theory thing?
what
There was
was
some
it?
kind of about a nomination. They didn't win something, or they were not
Yeah, so the
nominated.
fan theory, I don't know whether it's true or not, but fan theory conspiracy was that the Brits, the year before,
Yeah.
like there was a fan voted Brit award that they looked for like days, like they were going to win online based on the online votes, but somehow between the process of the votes closing online and the actual award being announced, somehow during the like verification of the votes situation, One Direction won instead. And so the heist supposedly was supposed to be about like them going to steal their Brit back, I guess. I don't know.
Oh, you see,
Yeah.
that I get,
Yeah.
but it's not obvious through the performance.
No, it's not.
Yeah. You kind of have to like look for it, and you have to like do some work on your behalf. Like you have to, yeah.
You have to know the story and the
Yeah.
context in order to
Yeah.
get it,
Like,
and then that makes it kind of like lackluster.
yeah, you will not get that from the performance itself.
Yeah, because like the Black Magic, as much as I love how it looked visually, there was a cultural appropriation and it just didn't really make a lot of sense with Black Magic itself. As for Shout Out, just the whole futuristic, I've already mentioned this, but the futuristic thing just didn't click in my head in the sense of that it didn't correlate at all. And again, I wish this was like what you said about Black Magic, that this was a more cinematic, theatrical performance and not just a random concept that probably had a good idea, but it didn't, I guess, like mesh. I don't know. And then Woman Like Me, that idea was great, but it wasn't executed to its fullest potential.
Yeah.
Because like the heist idea was great. Like it's a great idea. But if it would have been executed as well as it could have been, it would have been fantastic. But it wasn't, and it kind of lost that at some point. And so I don't know. I'm not really a fan of any of them. Like I would choose the heist just on its own, but I don't know. I can't say that I would choose it from the performance.
I I feel like you have to pick the I'm gonna force everyone. I feel like you have to pick the heist concept simply because it's the most thought through concept. Because like I feel
Yeah.
like even forgetting that the shout out to my ex concept doesn't relate back to the song or like the era or the album or like whatever, even without that, I feel like it's confused as a concept as a performance. Like it doesn't really seem to know what it's doing because we're saying it's futuristic, but what is actually futuristic about it?
Yeah.
The shattering mirrors, the silver things, like the rigid leotards, the blonde hair, like being carried on thrones. Like, what about that is actually futuristic? It's very much that the aesthetic just kind of like tricks you into being like, yeah, that makes sense. But as a concept, I think even just between like the dancers being in silver, the choreography, the outfits, like the visuals, the stage itself, like I think that it's very confused in and of itself as a concept and doesn't even match within, and really skates by on again that just that the visuals and the aesthetic look really good all together. And then Black Magic, I feel like its concept is lacking in any real foundation because it is based on cultural appropriation. So it's already like falling through the floor, not in the sense that cultural appropriation is bad, but in the sense that they've based the entire concept on like a false premise, because they are not understanding what that is in that culture. And so it's starting on a false premise, and then the concept actually doesn't go anywhere. It's very static. And so I feel like you have to like go with Women Like Me because it's the only one that has like an extra two thoughts added to it.
Yeah, that's true.
I guess I've been talked into a woman like me because often. Like, what the fuck? Yeah, I guess.
That being said, I do definitely agree that the setup of the heist was really great and then very
Yeah.
lackluster. There wasn't enough follow through and it wasn't well executed, but I feel like it had more than, it has a better foundation than the other two. And so you just like have to give it to it.
Yeah, it definitely had the most potential, I think.
See, you got to give them for potential.
No. But I don't love any particular concept of any of the performers. I mean, maybe I like the concepts, for example, for Woman Like Me, but I don't think that any of these concepts have been like executed properly or to its fullest potential. Oh, yeah, that's what I think.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Well, guys, we've shared lots of unpopular opinions. Do we have any other popular or unpopular opinions to share?
Well, my question to you guys was there maybe a member and any specific member who stood out to you the most throughout the performance? Was there anyone who really shined the most throughout the performance, who really grabbed your attention, who had the best stage presence? Because, stage presence is not only limited to dancing. You don't necessarily have to be a good dancer to be a good performer, and being a good dancer doesn't mean that you are a good performer. So there's that. So I'm really curious about the stage presence aspects of these performances because I definitely have my favorites in each performance. Yeah, I definitely have. So I was just wondering if you guys maybe have as well.
I'm like scanning through the performances right now.
Same.
We can go performance by performance, right? We can start with Black Magic.
I think for Black Magic, for me, Perry stands out a lot. I'm not really sure why. My eye always like catches her
Mm-hmm.
throughout. I think a lot of it's just because she just looks so happy to be there.
Her personality shines so much on stage. It's
Yeah.
like that's like one of her, in my opinion, one of her best attributes as a performer is she always just looks so happy to be there.
I mean, I don't always enjoy like these very much like overt performers. Sometimes I feel like you can have too much of a good thing, but yeah, in general, Perry has this infectious enthusiasm about her on stage.
Okay, you said Perry.
Yeah.
I have a feeling you're going to say Jade.
For which one?
No, I think he's going to say Jade for Black Magic.
Oh.
Or he's going to say leigh-anne. I'm guessing. I might be wrong. I don't know you well enough to really know the answer. I think I'm going to cop out and cheat and going to say Jadesy. Jade and Jessie stick out to me in Black Magic.
Mm-hmm.
That's my cheater's answer. All right, what was your answer? Did I get it right?
Actually, not because I'm picking Jessie. For someone who hates the song so much, I mean, she's done a great job, and I absolutely love the fact that how good of a job she did with her verse. That's right after the dance breakdown, like the first chorus, and she did a really good job with it. She really because she was singing live there clearly,
Yeah.
and I think it was one of her strongest, most solid vocal performances considering the fact that it comes right after like the dance breakdown. I really, I'm biased towards vocals. That's something I personally enjoy. So like things like that definitely catch my attention, grab my attention, and also I think she she definitely her stage presence for the performance was pretty balanced. I would say it was pretty even because Jessie has always had a tendency for overperforming, for overdancing. She's a very passionate performer, a very overt performer, a very dominant one as well. And I think in Black Magic, in this performance, she's a little bit more balanced, a little bit more composed, more than usual at least, and it really works well, I think. And she did really stand out to me the most in that performance.
It's funny. I would actually disagree with a lot of what you just said about her in this performance in particular, not about her overall.
Mm-hmm.
She, for me, watching her in this performance, I see a lot of the messy bad habits she developed in this era with her dancing.
Mm-hmm.
And like they're little pet peeves of mine. I have little pet peeves for all of their dancing, but specifically since we're talking about her. But stage presence wise, I think she's one of the stronger ones in this performance, along with Jade. Moving on to your shout out, right?
Yeah.
I don't know. Someone goes, no, actually, I do know. I'm lying. It's Perry.
Perry. Okay. Okay. Okay.
It's always Perry when it comes to shout out to my ex and a mess. Those are the rules of my life.
I don't know. I've literally been watching this one for the past 5 minutes and I can't tell what I see.
Okay.
I don't know. They all just seem so uniformed in this that it's like,
They are, they are all so good in this performance. The stage
yeah.
presence in that performance makes that performance for me. This is, yeah, insane.
Yeah, it's really hard to like pick them out because they're just so uniformed where they're feeding off each other and so they all have a pretty similar level that they're projecting.
Yeah, they're matching each other.
Yeah, and B, it's just they're all doing their own thing, but I like it, so like I can't single one out. Um, I don't know. Leigh-anne? She's kind of giving me a lot of face. Um,
I feel like I haven't really seen that many camera cuts to her, to be honest, because I'm trying to think about
no.
whether, like, what I would rate her in this, but I just haven't really seen her.
No,
Like,
but she
close-ups of
was
her.
yeah, doing a lot in her verse. I like the way she was like embodying the movement, I guess. Like she wasn't overdoing it, but she also was like doing it enough to blend in. Yeah, I don't know. I'm just like torn because they're all doing different things that I like, but they're also doing things I don't like. Um,
Yeah, me all the time.
I'll tie it with Perry and Lee, maybe.
Okay.
So I really love Liana in this performance. However, at 2:57, she has a little vocal, not a
Yeah, miss
fail,
that.
but a mishap. Yeah. She, for some reason, she tends to have a little bit of an issue with, with transitioning between registers. Um, because Jade did such a good job with her part, like in the first verse. Um, yeah, and yeah, my favorite in this performance is actually Jade. Even though, yeah, she's very theatrical, she's kind of like playing this snarky, unbothered character during her verse, but I really like her vocal performance during her part in the first verse, and then she does an ad lib, but I don't know exactly where it is because she does on a studio track. She does. Wait, maybe I can sing if she does. You never bring me down. She goes down, and in the performance, she does the first note. You never bring me down, and then she does like a higher note, and I like it a lot. I like that moment, even though it's not perfect because it's kind of pitchy, to be completely honest. But it doesn't matter.
Don't say that. I put it in the best vocals. No, I'm kidding.
Okay, I love it. Yeah, but to be completely honest, I like it. I like that. I like that addition. She kind of took the risk with that one. It's not a super complicated vocal. It's not very difficult, but it is a very nerve-wracking performance. So every kind of like addition, like a vocal ad lib, is a risk you have or you don't have to take, and she took that risk because, for example, Leanne at the end of her verse, she plays it safe. If you play her verse like the ending, um, you're happy about my life, and it's safe, right? She didn't do anything. Yeah. So, for example, that's what I really appreciate that. I appreciate that about Jade, for example. So Jade for me in this performance.
Now we're moving on to Women Like Me.
Yep.
I mean, my like initial gut reaction is to say Jade.
Really, mine is to say like the opposite. I want to say like anyone but Jade.
Yeah,
Really?
I really like Jade in general, but in that performance, she's kind of like out of element. I feel like she's not really in the moment. It's kind of like
She For me, she doesn't match. She's not matching their energy. She's like doing her own thing.
Yeah.
And she's super theatrical
Yeah.
in a way that the performance isn't. Like, she's not matching the theatrics of the performance or the energy of the other girls.
No.
And so she sticks out like a sore thumb in a bad way for me.
Yes, I agree. She seems very isolated in this one.
I'm starting to see what you mean.
I feel like she's like completely off in her own little world, doing the choreography the way she wants to do it, having a different attitude. Like, I just feel like she doesn't seem connected and cohesive with them. And I also feel like she's not matching. I want to say she's not matching the atmosphere of the performance, because could the performance atmosphere with this concept be playful? It could, but there's a lot of signs pointing to it's not,
Yeah,
and
it's
none
not.
of the other girls are doing it playful, which makes me think
Definitely.
that she's just mismatched.
Yeah, I definitely agree. And even after, she has her part after the Miss Banks rap, she kind of overdoes her facial expression.
She overdoes it so much.
I like the vocal here. I made a few mistakes. I really like it, but yeah, the facial expression kind of kills the vibe for me. It's like she didn't know what to do, so she was like, "Okay, something safe, something I know. Okay, that's gonna work."
That's always what she does when she lips.
Yeah. It's obviously a lip vocal here.
That's not a judgment thing, guys. No one's shaming them.
Lip sync is a tool. You can use it for the right purposes or wrong purposes. Lip sync is just a tool. It doesn't take away anything from the talents of the performer. So, my usual disclaimer.
Yeah, I was gonna say, you sound like me.
You can hate me now. You can hate me. I don't see you. I don't hear you. You don't exist for me.
Yeah, I see what you mean. Because I liked her during the chair choreography, but now I'm watching, like, past that. And I see what you're talking about. Can I choose a different person for each section?
Let's cheat.
Because I'm really having trouble, because I feel like this one, they all shine in different parts. Like, right now I'm back at the very beginning, and I feel like I'm watching leigh-anne a lot, but then as soon as it gets to the chair, I start watching Jade, but then at, like, the dance break, I'm watching Jessie, and then just in, like, transition steps, I'm watching Perry.
I'm gonna cheat, and then you can cheat, Ellen the Dream, because I'm gonna cheat the way you
Okay.
want to cheat, but not as extreme as you want to cheat. So I'm gonna bridge it.
Well, I have a new answer now, so I might not be cheating the same way.
Great. Okay. Overall, consistency-wise, the one that stands out to me in the performance in a positive way is Jessie.
Okay.
The person in the performance who stands out to me as having the best, like, some of the best, like, standout moments is Perry.
Yeah. Oh, that's cool.
Because, like, there are specific parts of, like, when I think of this performance, I think of very specific Perry parts, like her growl in the chair choreography. The way that she executes that movement of, like, dipping down is actually really nice.
Yes, I know what you're talking about. Yeah, I know.
Yeah, like there are some, like, standout moments from Perry that aren't consistent throughout the performance.
Yeah.
But they're ingrained in my head as being great moments from her. When I think of the performance, like, one of the first things that come to mind. As a consistent performer throughout, I would go Jessie. So I'm going to cheat, and I'm going to say Pessy.
Okay, I'm here for it. Yeah.
I have decided on Jessie. Like, just Jessie by herself. Because, like, I don't love every single thing she does in this, but overall, I feel like she's doing a lot of what I do like. Like, I feel like this is a dance where she can overdo it, and not look out of place. So, yeah, I'm gonna say Jessie.
Okay, guys, I think that is pretty much everything. So we've gone over vocals, dancing, choreo, costume, stage production, and concepts. Answered some questions. I think this was really fun. I really enjoyed getting to do this. We are definitely going to try to do it again in the future. I hope you guys enjoyed us having a special guest on here to add their opinion, kind of challenge us a bit. And let us know down below what you guys think, what your ranking is. And as always, please be respectful of us and of the other people in the comment section. And we will see you guys next week.